141 straight days of Clippers talk. Welcome in. I'm Adam Osland. You really thought I wasn't going to keep the streak alive? We're not stopping. I'm not stopping. Not until the season's over. That's my plan. I'm still here. And we can take your phone calls. Different number today. Because can't use 570's number since there's shows going on. But I don't think anybody's using KEIB. If you guys want to get on and join me, I'm at Follow Out of May. You can follow me there. This is, if you haven't noticed by now, it's not just the YouTube side where you can find these shows. Of course, when it's live, yes. But I also podcast them afterwards at Clippers Talk OT is where you find this separate podcast from the Clippers Talk podcast with all this extra stuff that we've been doing for quite a while now. But I appreciate you guys. And how's everybody doing after two straight losses to the Lakers?
Not too bad, I hope. Not too bad, I hope.
In this show, we're going to talk about how the Clippers need to play on offense now with Kawhi back and looking like he could be back, as in the best version of himself, or at least close to. After last night's game with 33 points on 23 shots, he was dominant. He was moving well. We'll go through some of the clips. I'll prove it. I'll prove how good Kawhi Leonard looked last night, as if you needed that. We'll also talk about the Phoenix Suns matchup coming up tomorrow. I think it's a dangerous one because they have been so woeful, so bad as of late. I don't expect it to continue. The Clippers are probably a sight for sore eyes for the Phoenix Suns since they beat them 3 times already this season with 2 comebacks. That's frustrating. I see you guys in here. Tom Raines. Oh,
Not too bad, I hope.
he's feeling shitty. Jason is in here.
Not too bad, I hope.
How you doing? Not too bad, I hope.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you tonight? Not too bad, I hope.
We're going to go through some video from last night to start things off. Looking for that Norman Powell injury report as well. I would expect, guys, him to be out at least 2 weeks with a hamstring. Ooh, just saw it. So we have, for the Clippers, Derrick Jones Jr. still out with a right groin strain. Ben Simmons still out with left knee soreness. And Norman Powell out with right hamstring strain. Didn't give us an update on the grade of it, the severity of the strain. We just know he's out tomorrow. It's a hammy. I would expect him to be out. My guess is 2 weeks. If it's less than that, we'll take it. But after he was just out with a knee injury, plays 9 minutes, injures the hamstring. Hamstrings were tricky. Brutal. Not the time for this to be happening. We say that a lot as Clippers fans. Why now? How can this be happening now? There's 22 games left. They're trying to stay out of the play-in tournament. I'll update you on the standings and how things look there coming up too. But I want to start, as I mentioned, with a conversation about Kawhi Leonard and how that affects the offense. First, let's watch all his makes from last night. I put it together at Follow Out of May. I just had to pull it from another video and take one from the Lakers side too at the very end. Not going to play the audio part. Just going to watch the video here of Kawhi. Because this is more important, I think. And Carlo Menez said it post-game too. So if you don't believe me, believe Carlo, your radio voice of the Clippers. This is more important than the result of last night's game. because this is more telling of how things can go from here on. If you have a healthy Kawhi, you can have a winning streak. You can rattle off winning 8 of 10. Now, he's going to miss at least 5 games because there's 5 more back-to-backs this season. So at most, with 22 games left, I think that means he's only playing 17 at most the rest of the way. But if they get this version of Kawhi and don't have miserable shooting games from others during that time, they should be in good shape. So let's go through some of the plays with Kawhi Leonard last night. He starts off with a three-pointer over LeBron in the near side corner. That was good to see. You could just tell it's a game with LeBron and Luka. Kawhi wasn't at his best Friday night. I thought there was a good chance he'd go for 30. He did. And there was a sense of urgency from him out there, especially. Kawhi was going hard. Nails this to start things off. 3 over LeBron, who really had a poor game. He was 6 of 17. He looked 40 at times. Still the best 40-year-old you'll ever see on the basketball court, even in a game like that last night. So Kawhi's been hitting the long ball. He continues to. I've been telling you that is a very good sign. But what about getting into your mid-range? So he has, that looks to be Vando on him. He gets to the right elbow. Jemison's waiting for him. Pull up. Really, really good elevation there by Kawhi Leonard. That is, he got up for that. And when he starts to backpedal like that, you know he's feeling good. He knew that was going down. So now Kawhi's getting into the mid-range here. That's the area that has been missing from his game. That's the color missing from his rainbow as of late, which is out of the ordinary for Kawhi Leonard. He's a mid-range master. He is a 47% shooter from 10 to 16 feet out for his career. And really, he's been better than that over the last, 8 years since he became a number 1 option. Now he's got LeBron on him, second quarter action where he had 10 points. Gets the screen from Eubanks, uses it driving to his left. Gets LeBron on his back, comes forward for the right-handed push shot. Well defended, doesn't matter. Kawhi couldn't get the foul, but he's looking bouncy out there. He's looking springy. And Eubanks had a really nice stint, by the way. Show Eubanks some love. Now Kawhi, the handle, which at times didn't look quite right, didn't look as tight as it has, as he has one of the best for a guy at his size in NBA history. The handle last night really stood out to me. He put on some dribbling exhibitions to get around guys. Uses the Eubanks screen again after going between the legs multiple times. Now he's going to pull up for a three-pointer where he gets fouled. Converts the 4-point play. Kawhi even showed it to the ref that, hey, I got hit in the head here. Before that, he wanted the foul. This time, he gets it. 4-point play. Now Amir comes up to get the switch. He has Dalton connect on him. Kawhi looks like he's going to drive between the legs. There was some contact there. That could have been a foul. Dalton connect. Shouldn't be able to hang with him. Kawhi a little bit of a push-off into the fadeaway. 15-footer at the free throw line. Gets the friendly shooters, roll off the front of the rim and in. Now a nice feed from Nico on the right block. Kawhi looks to be trapped. He's got Jackson Hayes on him. So why not, instead of going up for the layup there against Hayes, where he has the advantage, pull him out to deeper water? Kawhi sees it. LeBron's watching him. Now Kawhi spins back between the legs again. Foul line extended far side. Pull up. I'm telling you, you see the feet. When he's dancing like that, when his feet are moving like that, he's feeling good. Sinks it again. Right elbow Kawhi. I've been waiting to see more of this. The handle, all there. Kawhi is in his bag. Now Kawhi has Luka on him. James Harden, who we'll talk about more in just a little bit in that dynamic. And I think there needs to be a shift in the offense coming up, but he does look for Kawhi here. Kawhi wants this matchup against Luka. First, he sets the screen. He didn't get the basketball. James Harden misses, and Kawhi, and this even goes back to Friday night, he was hanging out around the basket looking for offensive rebounds and tip-ins. At the end of that game in the fourth quarter, the little things, the hustle plays, that's when you also know he's feeling good. James Harden was not. He's going to miss this. Kawhi goes up, and he's up with LeBron there. Gets the tap to himself, pump fake, pump fake. This could have been a foul on Jackson Hayes. Puts it up and in. Left to right, here we come. Kawhi into the front court now. Here he goes up against Luka Doncic. Doesn't have to worry about getting the ball from James here. James is on the left wing playing off ball. He's got Luka. He's got to go to work. Here's Kawhi. This is pretty miserable defense from Luka Doncic here. Gets to the right elbow. Pump fake. Pump fake. Now step back. Right elbow again. Other side of the court now as we're in the second half in the third quarter. Kawhi running the show. James Harden off ball. Kawhi, nice feed there to Chris Dunn, who probably could have got this to go, but he kicks it out, and maybe that was the right decision there. Bogey ball. Bogey ball, well, they haven't been falling as of late, although he ended up 4 of 11. That's 36%. Knocked down a couple, I think, in the fourth quarter. Maybe signs of life from his 3-ball. I hope so. This is well defended from Gabe Vincent on the closeout. Kawhi again, looking to do the dirty work. Underneath the basket with LeBron James. Kawhi, boom, tip in. That's tough right there. Awkward fall, though. And this is something a little bit scary to me and alarming. This is worrisome. I picked this up when I went through the highlights earlier. I screenshotted it too. You're going to see it here. I should probably make sure the chat is good and with me, and you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay. So Kawhi gets that tip in. He moves a little bit gingerly here. Watch the right arm to the right knee, the troublesome right knee. Kawhi gets up, uses his left hand to push off of. Now kind of grabs right at the right side of the right knee. That's a little bit concerning, is it not? Continues to play well, so hopefully it was nothing. He is not on the injury report, so I guess he's playing against the Phoenix Suns in that game, and he'll be missing the game against the Pistons, it looks like. Here's Chris Dunn into the front corner on the right wing. Back to Big Zoo, handoff to Kawhi. Now look at Kawhi here turn the corner. He sees Jackson Hayes, and he's going, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm going right at him. LeBron was his primary defender. He gets screened by Ivica Zubac, and this is one of the two, I think, most encouraging plays, and it happens late in the game, 9:21 mark of the fourth quarter. Here's Kawhi throwing the ball ahead, and then a little in and out almost, a little hesitation on Jackson Hayes, thinking he might pull up. Instead, Kawhi then goes for the blow-by, the underhand shot, scoop shot on the right side. That is tough. Could have been a foul. Didn't get it. Kawhi falls to the floor again. I do want to see, did he grab? Oh, he did reach for that right knee for a second there. If you're watching, watch this for a second. I'm not saying it's anything. He's not on the injury report. I'm watching everything. Zapruder film with Kawhi, always. Right hand to right knee, grabs something there for a second. Maybe he's just looking for his shorts, where his spandex was. Gets helped up by Big Zoo. That was a foul, excuse me. It's just you never know. You're watching a Lakers game, you just assume they're not going to be called for a foul there. Just playing. Kawhi also, he tried to get a little bit of a push off, but that is an extremely tough angle. That's superstar stuff, and we get a different angle of it here. Right hand on the knee, on the calf area. It could be nothing. He's on the injury report. He's not on there. I'm not trying to sound any alarms, but it's Kawhi. Come on, we're watching everything. All right, Kawhi now matched up against Vando, one of the better defenders, if not the best on-ball defender, he and DFS for the Lakers. Kawhi on an island here, dribbling exhibition. Ooh, this is Kawhi really starting to feel good. You can tell. LeBron's waiting for him. on the right elbow. He knows that's Kawhi's spot. This is the difference in the modern game. People talk about there's no physicality, there's no this. It's like you can just hang out and play zone and get to a guy's spot and stay there now. You can guard space. That makes things more difficult because he's not just watching Vando here. He's watching the guys behind him, as the Lakers have been playing a lot more zone as of late. That makes things tougher. It's really about two defenders here. But Kawhi is feeling good, and he's going to try to turn the corner on Vando and LeBron. Now he stops, little hezzy, freezes LeBron. Oh, LeBron goes back to his spot. Kawhi now with the blow-by on Vando, gets the layup. No foul there, but that is a very encouraging play from Kawhi. What about him? Getting back into the mid-range. Now he's on the left elbow. Double comes momentarily from Luka Doncic. Kawhi, look at the shoulder fakes here. This is just nasty. Spins, like that's vintage Kawhi, that spin move. Right above the dotted line. So about a 10-footer here. Fading away over Vando. Good elevation. Look where his head is versus Vando. This is Kawhi at his best in the mid-range. Last one for you to get to 33 points. This game was not quite over. Kawhi sensed getting to his spot because Luka was on him. I forget who made this pass. It might have been James Harden up ahead. Luka recovers very late. Kawhi pull up three-pointer. They had a chance. 107-104. Was that score right? Was that the scoring issue we saw? Yeah, they gave him 5 points there. They took it from 99 to 104. There was some trickery there. It didn't end up hurting the Clippers at all. It was nothing intentional. It was just a weird score thing. Okay, so Kawhi looks great, right? What's more important than that? That's what I've been talking about for some time now. We'll get to your comments, and if anybody wants to call in, 877-520-1150 is the phone number. Because we have the power now. The power glove. It's so bad. Go look up what happened to that guy, actor. 877-520-1150 if you guys want to get on. With Kawhi looking this good, is there anything more important than that? No, there's not. Because Kawhi is your ceiling raiser. He's also a superstar that raises your floor too, but with Kawhi at his best, he can be the best player in a 7-game series against just about anybody. He's that good. I already read the injury report. I saw it absent. I appreciate it. It's really comes from the Clippers PR, and then all the media people send it out at the same time. It's okay. That's how those things work. But yes, Tomer Azarli, great follow. Great guest. Luka was trolling the Clips bench, as he used to do all the time with the Dallas Mavericks. So, what's the issue then? Kawhi looks good. What's the problem? How'd they lose that game? Kawhi has 33. He plays 40 minutes. Most minutes he's played, I think, since late 2023 in a ball game. Well, James Harden was 4 of 14. Your other star. Ivica Zubac only gets up 9 shots. Your other focal point on offense, at least he should be, especially after his 27-16 game Friday night, especially with the season he is having. How on earth does he only get up 9 attempts? James Harden has been in a funk. Is it fatigue? Has he been overtaxed? I believe that. For instance, I was talking about this with BJ Matthews earlier. He sent me some of his usage ratings. And I'm like, yeah, I've talked about his usage rating a lot this season. The problem is he went from having a usage rating around 20% to 30%. He has a usage rating like he's 35 or like he's 25 when he's 35. That's how a guy can start slowing down like this later in the season. Coach Lue was critical of himself for playing him such heavy minutes. Have they had a lot of options? No. Now they do. The first 40 games, they didn't have many options. Now they do. If Kawhi can play like this more consistently. I'm not saying he's getting 33 every game, but can he get you a reliable 25 from here on? Was that what I've been asking for? What happened last night with Kawhi stepping on the gas, turning that corner, becoming a star again? That's what they need. It was 6 more points than he had scored so far this season. But if you look at his last 5 games now, 25, 25, 17, 21. If he didn't miss 4 free throws, that would be 25. That was on Friday night. And then 33 last night. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a little bit more secure that Kawhi is feeling good and can get back to where he was last year. That's a lot to ask, but they need it. Everybody else has been doing their part, keeping the Clippers above water. They have played above their heads, many of the players on this team, especially to start off the season. Now it's Kawhi's turn to carry them, to extend a hand. Say, all right, guys, I got this. I'm your number one option. Everybody else take a back seat, which will save their legs, in essence, keep them fresher and more efficient out there around him. That's what needs to happen. Is there a power struggle or an offensive dynamic issue going on right now where James Harden is having trouble letting go of being the focal point on offense? I could understand it to a degree. He's had to be that guy that is creating everything on ball for others and himself. He's been a tank. He's been their MVP so far this season. But it's time to transition back to Kawhi being the number one option. Is James Harden prepared for that? Is he going to loosen his grip on the offense? He needs to for this team to be at their best. This isn't about Kawhi. This is about Kawhi in a way because he's their best player. But this is about what style of play is going to raise the Clippers' ceiling the highest. It's Kawhi's. Take the fandom out of it. Just look at them as players. Kawhi is the 2-time champion. Kawhi at his best is better than James Harden. James Harden is still top 75 all time too. But Kawhi at his best is a proven winner at the highest level. If he is back to playing at a high level, you have to play through him to reap the benefits that he offers as a number one option. Is there a pecking order issue going on right now? Because Friday night, James Harden was still out there going 5 of 22, taking more shots than Kawhi. He got up 17. James Harden got up 22 and still made 3 less shots than Kawhi Friday. And how many games have we seen this where he's still taking more shots than Kawhi? At some point, Kawhi's the guy who needs to average 19 to 20 shots per game, and James Harden should probably be around 16. Against the Bulls, James Harden got up 20, Kawhi 14. Kawhi did play 3 less minutes. James Harden did get scorching hot in the third quarter, okay? And you can use the minutes restriction as an excuse for a while, but it looks like that's no longer there. He played 38 minutes against the Lakers Friday night, Kawhi, and 40 last night. The minutes restriction is off. Now, if you want to say, because of Kawhi's availability issues, it's a harder thing to pass the baton his way and say, lead us, take us there. because there's still 5 more back-to-backs for the Clippers, including tomorrow and Wednesday. And that means he's likely missing at least 5 of the 22 games remaining. I understand that. But if you want to optimize the offense, if you want the very best version of the Clippers when Kawhi is out there and he's moving like this, you have to play through him. That's the recipe for success. Even in that Chicago game, they started the third quarter playing through him. Everybody caught a rhythm, including James. He also benefits from this greatly. Nobody needs Kawhi more than James Harden, who's been carrying the load this long. We can't have James Harden run out of gas. He needs to play more off the ball. He needs Kawhi to do more of the hard stuff. Draw 2, pass out of it, swing it. That will get the Clippers where they need to be on offense. And they haven't been good enough as of late. But if this is the turning point for Kawhi, time will tell. It is not an option to have him playing second fiddle or third on this Clippers team anymore. He's the guy making $50 million. He's the one you've invested in, the one you've tied your hopes to. So he's got to get up 20 shots per game now. This is it. This is a time to shift things back to it being Kawhi Leonard's team. Kawhi last night had an interesting quote. We played it for you on an extended edition of Clippers Talk After Dark. I think we did another 3-hour show last night. Why not? I'm going to empty the tank myself with only 22 games left. Kawhi had a quote regarding the offense, and I want you guys to listen to this.
How do you feel about the offensive process when you were out there tonight?
I feel like we moved it a little bit. Got open shots. We still got to play with some pace. Still a little bit more ball movement, but
Still got to play with some pace. Still a little bit more ball movement. Well, those two things aren't exactly what James Harden brings.
we got to lay away missing wide open threes.
Got to play with more pace, more ball movement. I don't think this is Kawhi sending a message. I think he's giving an honest answer. But I'm telling you, for this Clippers team to peak, it has to be them jumping on Kawhi and him taking them as far as he can. Having James Harden as the number one option is only going to get you so far. Same with Kawhi, but he can get you further if he's right. I mean, there was a play last night that I think Jamal Christopher highlighted that I'll bring up here. And this goes to the overall offensive process and how frustrating it can be at times, especially for those that are fans of Ivica Zubac and see his worth on this team and see him being underutilized over and over again. Watch this play. This is early on first quarter. High pick and roll. I'll share the screen for you here. This comes from Jamal Christopher at Jam Christopher. He highlighted it. I don't think I noticed it in the moment. But look at Ivica Zubac get the mismatch against Luka, and James Harden settles for a step back. Zoo is demanding the basketball. For everybody saying Zoo needs to be more forceful with it, he's asking for it. He's calling for it. They got the switch. Jackson Hayes is on James Harden, and I think he's a little bit too pre-programmed here to elect to take a tough step back when Zoo has the advantage against Luka Doncic down low. Zoo asked for it fed up, eventually had to get out of the paint, resorts to the dunker spot. Kawhi, meanwhile, is just hanging out here in the near side corner, and James is going into a straight ISO. This is not great offensive process when you have Ivica Zubac with how well he's been playing, and especially with Kawhi Leonard back. This is a play that I'm okay with more so if Kawhi's not there. Now, I think Norm is still on the floor at this point, too. Yeah, this is before he left the game. You have help. It's not all on your shoulders. James has to recognize that. He has to take advantage of this. You got what you wanted. Ivica Zubac with Luka on him. This can't happen. I have praised James Harden all season long, and most people in here would say I'm some James Harden apologist or something like that. So their heads might explode with this episode that I'm doing. But I'm just telling you, this is not optimizing your offense based on the personnel that's available right now. Kawhi's out there. Zubac is out there. Norman Powell is out there. When James Harden is in a bad second unit and leading it, that's different. When there's a ton of injuries going on, that's different. That's a play that can't happen. Some people in here are saying this ain't the Houston days. Why said Zoo should pull Charles Barkley and just sit in the paint for 3 seconds if he ain't getting the ball. I mean, he was in there. They probably could have called it. I think there needs to be a conversation about pecking order and roles being more defined with Kawhi being back and playing at a high level. Maybe there doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. Unspoken message. Maybe it's clear. It's obvious. Maybe Coach Lue doesn't have to pull anybody aside, or Kawhi doesn't have to say anything, or James Harden doesn't have to be told anything. It's not an easy conversation. It's difficult. Hey, James, thanks for everything you did so far this season. Kawhi's back. Now we're going to him. Like, that could rub him the wrong way. We're not just kicking James to the side. He's still an extremely important player on this team. But in order to cut down on the turnovers, you got to bring down his usage rating. In order to increase his efficiency, you got to bring down his usage rating. You can't have him out there having to be the entire system all the time. Yes, he's a system. He's great. I think he wins a championship if he didn't run into the best team of all time with the Golden State Warriors with KD. I think the way he plays basketball can work. But right now, he's got talent around him with Kawhi, with Ivica Zubac. And Kawhi last night was at a level where you can see he's starting to put things together. And that means the ball needs to be in his hands more, and you have to run the offense through him more. And it's going to help James playing more off ball. It will. I know it's unusual for him. I know, you see, like when they brought him in last season, the number going around was he's a 41% catch and shoot guy. He just doesn't take a lot of them because it's unfamiliar, and he'd be turning down catch and shoot 3-pointers, even though he'd get better looks, even though it's an easier shot than a dribble, step back. It's just out of the ordinary for him. It's not what he's necessarily as comfortable with because of repetition over the years with Houston and being the number one and holding up teams. And he is an amazing, incredible player. But Kawhi said it. They need to play with more pace. They need to move the ball more. That really goes against James Harden's style of play. It's not that he isn't still going to be extremely valuable. He will be. He is. It's just if you want this team to reach the highest level they can, Kawhi has to be the guy you play through more. He's going to draw a ton of attention. He's going to make life easier for everyone, and he's going to help out guys who have tired legs because for the first 40-plus games of this season, they had to do way too much at the age of 35. That's my point. And I don't want there to be some power struggle going on, and I'm not saying there is, but it should be obvious and plain to everyone that this is, when Kawhi's healthy, it is still his team. You came to help him and Paul George last year. Now you're coming to help Kawhi, and my God, Norm has been the leading scorer all season long, one of the most efficient players in the NBA. Like, James can really make life easier for everyone else by being more of a playmaker out there, by not looking for a shot as much, by going back to playing how he was often last season. Kawhi was the guy then. He was setting others up. There were still games where he'd take over. He entered the Indiana game where he's doing the snow angel and had like 4 or 5 straight threes. This is not about diminishing James Harden. It's about transferring, his powers to different areas. We don't need you to score as much now. You don't have to take as many tough shots because you're the only one that can create them. Kawhi's out there now too. Make life easier for him. And he had some passes to Kawhi last night. It's not like he was freezing him out or something like that. But Kawhi did most of his damage when James was off the court. The 10 points in the second quarter, a lot of that was without James. The 10 points in the fourth quarter, a lot of that was without James. Those two need to play together, work together for this team to be at their best. And I have no doubt they can because I saw it last season. I know Paul George was there too, but I think it can be a good match, him and Kawhi. I do. Because at times, Kawhi worried about not having a guy who was more reliable with getting his own shot or taking it, at least in Paul George, and being aggressive. He doesn't have to worry so much about James Harden lacking aggression. That's good. And James can get Kawhi to his spots much easier. And he can help Ivica Zubac as he has. Zoo is not this good and not this efficient and not having this good of a season, and even going back to last year when he was playing his best ball without James. He makes life so much easier on your bigs. But you look at that play and you look at the numbers, and Ivica Zubac gets up 9 shots. Well, that's not good enough. Not this year. Ivica Zubac should be getting up 12 to 15 a game. Easy. He's too valuable. And you're not going to win many games going away from him. And the Lakers, I listened to Coach Lue post game. He talked about how they were doubling sooner. There were schematic issues with getting Ivica Zubac involved. He did have a turnover. You don't want to force it to him, but like, you have to, for other guys that are integral to the Clippers, they will find a way, come hell or high water, to get them the basketball and get them to their spots because it's a requirement to win games. I think it's the same now with Ivica Zubac. He's that important to this team. It is required to get him going. If you want to win, you have to keep Zoo involved. And he's dependent on everybody else getting him the basketball. So look his way. This is, a collective failure at times with Ivica Zubac not being as much of a focal point. I don't think it's one person. I don't think it's Harden. I don't think it's Coach Lue. I don't think it's Kawhi. It's just a lot of bad habits, I think, built up over the years where they treated Ivica Zubac like, rim runner, great defender, but, stay in your lane, Zoo. You're young. Ain't that young anymore. He's about to turn or just turned 28. He can create for himself. You get it to him on the block. Zoo can go to work. Spin move around LeBron last night for an easy one. Like, Ivica Zubac, at worst, is the 7th best center in the NBA this season. Definitively. I've gone through the list. At worst, he's too vital. So, yeah, a lot of that responsibility of getting Zoo involved is on the guy who has the ball in his hands the most. See, I don't agree with this. Harden played a brand of non-winning playoff basketball at the Rockets. That's not true. They took the Golden State Warriors without CP3 the last 2 games to 7 games when they had Kevin Durant. And they had this fluky outlier shooting performance where they missed 27 straight threes. They could have won the championship that year. They ran into, sometimes you're a victim of your era. They ran into the most stacked super team ever. Golden State coming off winning 73 games, blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals, and then adding KD. Houston had them on the brink of elimination because of James. So I don't buy his brand of basketball can't win. I think that's a false narrative. See, it's not always that easy to get him the ball in the post. They front him. They sandwich him with guys. The Lakers play a lot of small ball, but they're really good with rotating. They've been the best defense for some time now. I hate to say it, but they have been. I just know if this Clippers team, 0 finals, like I make that point and somebody just blows by it. 0 finals appearances, how many years? First of all, he made the finals with the OKC Thunder and was a huge part of that. If you watch that series against San Antonio in 2012 in the Western Conference Finals to get to the finals, it's like narrative basketball, rings narrative basketball is ruining. It's ruining the NBA. It really is. I just brought you the context. When Harden had his best team ever in Houston, he lost CP3 the last 2 games of that series against Golden State, which had the best team in NBA history. He could have won the championship that year. I think they would have beaten Cleveland. That's called wrong place, wrong time. That's not, he had some fatal flaw. Fatal flaw was the Warriors got KD. Nobody's beating that team. Nobody. 96 Bulls are getting waxed. I'm telling you. Jason said, you're right, Adam, but the attempt to get him the ball 10 times a game in the post would get more guys open anyway with more efficient looks. Well, I agree. Ivica Zubac has become a much better passer, passing out of the double teams. It's only helping you getting Zoo more involved. It's only helping you. It's not going to hurt you to get Ivica Zubac more looks and more touches. There's going to be games where everybody has bad games. He's off. He's not as engaged. I mean, some of the reason I think he's not as engaged at times is because he's not getting the basketball, like in the clip we just showed. We can't treat Zoo like an afterthought. He is one of the most important players on this team. We can't just use him as, well, he's a great rim protector and defensive anchor. No, he has an offensive skill set. Saying all those years were failures with the Houston Rockets, it's like those teams often weren't nearly that talented when you look at the supporting rosters around James Harden. But he made them look very good because of his system, because of his style of play. They overachieved, and then people would think that they're underachieving then in the playoffs because they overachieved in the regular season thanks to James Harden's system. But in the playoffs, you got to have more talent. He did with CP3. but he got hurt the last 2 games. I just think it's a low information argument to say that James Harden couldn't have won a championship. Look at the details about what actually happened. 877-520-1150. 877-520-1150. We really going to go without a phone call this episode? Yes, there's a difference between regular season teams that are being bolstered by a system and what happens to those teams in the playoffs when the high-end talent comes in and you're lacking some of that on the other side, like James Harden was. The CP3 years, he actually had a real guy to go to. Unfortunately, CP3 got hurt. Those were his best teams. What about the 2022 playoffs? What about Jonathan Ing, our moderator, calling in here on Clippers Talk? Hopefully it'll bring some sanity.
Oh, man. All right. I'm going to make this quick point because I'm technically still on the clock for work before my wife makes me get in trouble. So, so about the Harden discussion, I think part of it, the foul baiting. So I'll just preface this.
He's a polarizing player.
Yeah, I can't stand. I absolutely cannot stand his foul play. So
But
let me get that out of the way.
that's fine. But
Yeah.
and I understand that he is effective. He's an effective player.
No, I'm not saying he isn't effective. So, but it's just so going back to the discussion on his Rockets teams. Like I always thought he needed a secondary ball handler and playmaker on those Rockets teams because that's what held them back, and it is too taxing for him. And then also you factor in the difference in physicality in the playoffs. Like all the foul baiting that Harden got away with in the regular season got ruled that like they weren't calling those BS fouls anymore in the playoffs. So it's just something he couldn't adjust to. And like
I still think that's not the main reason he wasn't successful. I don't think that was close to the main reason.
I'm not saying that. That's just one.
It's something.
Factor, but
No, that's fair. It's something, Jonathan.
But it's also the lack of a secondary playmaker, ball handler all those years. And you're right, Chris Paul did get hurt. But as far as them beating the Cavs, I don't think so. I don't think they would have beaten the Cavs because Braun was on something. So
Maybe they wouldn't have, but they would have got to the finals. And, I mean, it would have been a close series. I don't know what the odds makers would have had it at. It would have been a close series. He definitely had an opportunity. And if you have an opportunity, to me, I don't think it's some fatal flaw like you could never win, like it could never work. I think a lot of it is circumstantial. Is that fair?
yeah, I agree. But ultimately, though, I like I said, Harden's polarizing. I hate his style of play. I have to root for him as long as he's a Clipper. But he's overall been good as a Clipper, and he's been available. Can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
And my last point is all the Amir Coffee haters. Come on, like he's regressed a little bit, and some of that on the defense probably had been that 6 and 9 set that we played. Probably he played heavy minutes, and that probably took a good chunk out of his defense. So that there's probably something to why he's been so up and down lately. But Coffee's been good. So all those Amir haters, get off him. I'm good.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm with you. I think he's overall had a good season, and he's had a rough patch, but they need him. They don't have a lot of options right now. With Norm still out, with DJ still out, with Ben Simmons out for tomorrow's game. Looks like Kawhi's playing tomorrow's game against Phoenix. So is he missing the game against Detroit? You would assume so. And speaking to what happened to Harden, what about this year? So in 2018, CP3 had the hamstring injury when the Rockets were up 3-2. In 2019, CP3 was never the same after that hamstring injury, and he wasn't playing at the same level. Yes, the Rockets team was similar on paper, but CP3 wasn't. 2020, Westbrook got injured in the bubble, missed most of the first round, wasn't 100%. 2021, Harden had a torn hamstring. That hamstring injury, I don't think he's ever quite been the same after that. That was with Brooklyn. 2022, Embiid, an injured thumb, broken face, concussion. 2023, Embiid has an LCL sprain. Harden has had extremely bad luck with his teammates being injured at the worst times in the playoffs. So if you want actual context of why Harden didn't win a championship during that time, like there it is. But some people will just lump it into, well, I don't like James Harden, so I'm going to use this opportunity to slander him. Give me a second. I need to see if this call is actually for me. Clipper Stock, what's your name? Alfonso, hold on. All right, we got Alfonso here on Clipper Stock. People calling in now. Alfonso, where are you calling in from?
San Dimas.
This whole make your own luck thing is trash. I'm sorry, Alfonso, but rugby's argument is trash. You make your own luck. Like you can decide who gets injured and who doesn't. That is a terrible argument. There are times where you absolutely, you know what? The Clippers should have made their own luck. They should have said, Kawhi, don't tear your ACL in the 2021 playoffs. Like, what a terrible argument. Alfonso, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Yeah, like the whole argument I know they were saying about Harden, the same thing to say about when Kawhi got hurt as well that year. Kawhi didn't get hurt when they went to the conference final. They could have easily won the championship that year as well. So,
Oh, yeah.
I know Harden. Yeah, so
It's
my biggest gripe is I know that the Clippers. I think they're the better team than the Lakers. So I'm like, I despise the Lakers. I don't know. I think they should still could have won these two games, but just don't know about these two games.
yeah, I get it, my friend. I know how people feel about the Lakers. And losing those two games in the fashion they did with Luka getting into step backs. Are you still hopeful this team can make a push here, can figure this out, having lost 5 of 6 coming out of the All-Star break, Alfonso?
Yeah, I still have faith. I think they got. Well, the thing is, the big thing is, they got to get all these players healthy, and hopefully, right the week before the playoffs, they're all healthy and they will have some kind of winning streak getting into the playoffs, and no more back-to-backs. That's the big thing. So Kawhi and Ben Simmons could play every single playoff game, and hopefully we stay in the 6th spot so we don't got to do the play-in as well.
I'm trying to look for some blessings in disguise because that's all we can do is hold on to hope. My hope is these injuries going on. It sucks not having Norm. It is brutal. He is so imperative to this ball club. My hope is this puts even more onus on Kawhi to say, I'll lead you guys. Get behind me. I'm taking 20-plus shots a game, and I'm going to get back to playing like superstar Kawhi Leonard because we don't have a choice right now. We don't have Norm. We got guys banged up. I'm hoping that's what happens, Alfonso.
Yeah, most definitely. And as you can see from the last game when he pretty much almost pulled it out by himself because Harden had a really bad game and Norm ended up not playing and Ben Simmons didn't play and Derek was out. So, Kawhi almost pulled it out, but, he has to have some kind of other help to, do it. Kawhi, he's about to, explode, no more restrictions on the minutes. So, he's ready, but he needs a little bit of help as well.
Yeah, I agree. I hope he can alleviate the burden from James Harden, and Harden will say, hey, we're playing through you, big dog. Kawhi, this is still your team, so lead us. Let's go. And that can get the best version of James Harden, too, because he won't be as tired from having to do everything. You got a baby in the background there, Alfonso? You got a little one?
Yeah, I picked up my little one.
That's good.
Swim practice, so
Daddy to daycare. Let's go. Let's go. All right, Alfonso. Well, I appreciate you calling in to Clippers Talk and being a listener, man.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
There goes Alfonso, 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150. We have somebody named Arby. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's nice to talk to you. I'm guessing we've talked before because your name has been screened there. What do you want to say?
No, first time calling, long time listener. Shout out to
Hell yeah.
I felt like if the Lakers were a premier team, I'm talking about like the Cleveland, OKC, Boston level, we would have lost by bigger digits. So I'm not that impressed by the Lakers. But then again, I am a Laker hater. I hate the Lakers. Exactly. I wanted to get your take on the feel or the chemistry of the team since the trades happened at the trade deadline. I'm not comparing players' abilities or skill set, but it just felt like the team was a little more. They were more aligned as far as the offense went prior to the trades. I'll hang up and I'll listen to your take.
Okay, Arby. Appreciate the phone call. Thanks for being a listener here on Clippers Talk, man.
Thank you.
So I do think there's something to having that much turnover in the locker room, and that could lead to some missing links in chemistry and connections. But I think that the majority of this is we're trying to read in and figure out what's going on with the Clippers, and the answer is staring us in the face. It's clear. Norman Powell, if you didn't think he should have been an all-star before, well, how about now? Do you see how much they're missing without having Norman Powell out there? How important he is to this team? They're shooting 4% better from three in games that Norman Powell plays. And that's just not only because he's such a good three-point shooter, but he spreads the floor. The spacing's much better. Guys are getting better looks because of Norman Powell. Not having him is just devastating to this team. We're learning that. They've won one game without Norman Powell since November. It has been, and the reason it's so difficult to get by is because Norman Powell, he fills in, a hole or a flaw in this team because they do lack shooting. They do lack efficient shooters from the outside. Norman Powell is one of the best three-point shooters in the league for a couple of years now. He's like a 44% three-point shooter going back to last season. Professional scorer, yes. And not only is he a good scorer, he's the type you need next to Kawhi and James. His fit is so good because he's a catch-and-shoot guy or attack the closeout guy. He doesn't need to get into his bag. He doesn't have a deep bag. He's a quick decision, take you off the dribble, go right, or catch-and-shoot three guy. That's perfect for this team. So they're missing a lot not having Norman Powell. He completes them. The Jerry Maguire line. He does. He holds this thing together in a lot of ways. They just don't have the three-point shooting without him. I totally understand why they started Bogey in the second half, played him the entire third quarter, played him heavy minutes in the fourth. The Clippers are basically saying, if it's not Bogey who's going to figure it out from three, we don't have anybody else to do it without Norman Powell. So Bogey, please get up shots and catch a rhythm because we don't have options. That's what's going on. I know people are frustrated with Bogdanovich not shooting it that well, but he needs to put him up still. Put it up, Bogey. Put it up, Bogey. And he did hit a couple late that helped them hang around, and they had a fighting chance against the Lakers last night. Maybe that will do wonders for him in the game in Phoenix. They don't have many options. People saying Patty Mills, like, he had one good stint. One. Where he hit a couple of three-pointers. Maybe Patty Mills does get more run, but he has looked pretty washed the last couple of years. That's okay. He's 36. He's older. Bogey has had a bad 30-game stretch this season. He's only played in about 30 games, going back to Atlanta. Last year, he was fifth in Sixth Man of the Year voting right behind Norman Powell. He should be the perfect antidote. The guy who fits in seamlessly with this team. He's just not hitting at the rate you would expect from a career 38% three-point shooter. But I get why they're doing it. So the Clippers are in Phoenix tomorrow. The Suns are 3-11 their last 14 games. Just a precipitous fall for a team that has way too much talent. But as I said earlier, Phoenix should not be this bad. And they've beaten the Clippers 3 times this season, where the first two, they came back late, down 9 with 3.5 minutes left, opening night at Intuit Dome. The second game, they came back down 21, where they went 15 of 15 from the field to start the third quarter. The most extraordinary shooting performance I'll ever see. 15 for 15 to start the third. You can catch up pretty quick doing that. I went through the tape. A lot of those shots were guarded. Then the last game between them, they just smoked the Clippers. They dominated them in Phoenix, where the Clippers are going to be tomorrow. I am concerned about this one. I am. I think the Suns are licking their chops. Did they not smoke them? It was 111-109 was the final. Did the Clippers mount a comeback? Yeah, they did. The Clippers were down big. They made a fake comeback, as the kids would say. But they were down double digits in the first half. Clippers talk. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Jeremy in LA, a.k.a. Jason D on YouTube and all platforms. What up, Adam?
What up, Jason? What do you want to say? Are you concerned about Phoenix? Because I am.
I'm definitely concerned about Phoenix, but I'm like, I don't know, I'm pessimistically optimistic, if you will. Right? Like there's a little hope here. And number one, which is like the only really concerning things are the injuries, obviously, and the shooting. I think those are just the two biggest things as a team, right? I feel like there's a lot being overblown about James Harden being as bad as he's been. He hasn't been completely terrible. It's just.
Well, I'll say this: he's had like one.
It's pretty simple.
No, I agree. They don't have enough good options like to go anywhere else. Also, even though he's had like one good quarter, his last 12 quarters of basketball, I still believe in him. He still has been their MVP this season. But do you agree with me that it's time to shift back to this being a Kawhi Leonard-led team?
Oh, absolutely. But even to that point, right? Like the last 4 games, Pistons, Bulls, and the Lakers twice have all had clutch minutes. If you go back and just watch the shot quality over the last 5 minutes of those games, I would say that 27 of the other teams watching those games would take the shot quality that the Clippers got over the last 5 minutes of those games. Like we had legitimately wide open shots. Like we were making decent decisions down the stretch. There were a couple turnovers that happened. Turnovers happened. There was that weird kick ball that didn't get called from Gabe Vincent the other night. That was really weird, and that kind of sealed the game for us. But if you're just talking about shot quality and winning the game, I would say we're right there. I mean, especially with no Norm Powell last night, no DJ, no Ben Simmons. We're playing Jordan Miller and Kobe Brown in the first half of a game that we're down 10 in. Like if you told us that we're gonna lose by 6 and Kawhi misses 4 foul shots and Shake Milton makes a weird corner 3 that bounces around the rim a couple times, like we're in a decent spot. We just gotta play through it a few more times. We gotta get some boards, on some defensive boards. I mean, the Lakers are great on the defensive boards. Vanderbilt was amazing. The kid they brought up from the G League, very good on the offensive boards. I get it, but I mean, in terms of shot quality, in terms of not James
personal shot quality, but the shot quality we're getting all around, I mean, you can't really ask for a lot more. We just got to make shots, man.
Yeah, I think you're making a lot of good points, Jason. It's a make or miss league. The Clippers have had good looks. I mean, the shots that Bogey is missing, when he missed 2 back-to-back near side corner threes last night and just kind of shrugged his shoulders like, what the hell is going on? How am I missing these shots?
Can't remember the last time he missed those shots either, like in terms of like watching him over the course of his career. And the other like optimistic part of this is that the defense really hasn't fallen off. Like Luka had a really good game last night. They only scored 108 points.
No, I'm with you.
Like it's not like we're right there defensively. Even James Harden hasn't been terrible defensively, which is also probably why he's been struggling so much, because he's putting in effort on the defensive side. And he's getting strips and he's getting steals, and he is running the floor when he has the opportunity. So like there is positiveness here. Well, we just got to look at it like that, but also we just got to get healthy. Like Norm missing just really hurts us to the point that we're going to lose games. It is what it is. Like he creates so much for us, creates so much space for Kawhi to operate in the mid-range, creates so much space for James to work one-on-one against better matchups that, I mean, and then the fact that we just don't get the ball to Zoo doesn't help any of this at all, especially when goes for 27 and 16, again.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Jason, you cooked here. You got to call back again, okay? And I got to end the show, which is the only reason I got to go. But you killed this, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for calling in.
Appreciate you, Adam.
Before we get out of here, I do want to remind you, Clipper Stock is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or your least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money, and I got a free promo code for you that gives new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description down below in this very episode. I bring you good news. So I mentioned the Phoenix Suns being 3-11 their last 14 games. Over those last 14 games, they have the worst defense in the league. So hopefully the Clippers can find their offense against them, and Kawhi can carry over what he was doing shooting-wise and getting to the spots against the Phoenix Suns. But they're going to be ready for the Clippers. I'm not overlooking them at all, and the Clippers got to find a way. Appreciate you guys. Sorry about the sound earlier. I somehow became unplugged. I messed up. We will talk to you guys soon. Pre-game tomorrow at 6. Clips and dip later tonight. I'm Adam Osland. We will talk to you then.
Off the air.